Welcome to the channel, guys. My name is Jess. So Bitcoin is prepping for what could be an explosive move to the upside. In fact, the next 2 weeks of price action could be really insane. We're going to dive into the video today to talk about the key signals that you need to watch out for in Bitcoin's big break, including short time frame and high time frame analysis, and how this could all tie in with mass altcoin recovery on Total 3. Before we dive in, guys, make sure you smash that like button and subscribe to the channel to get regular Bitcoin analysis every Monday, Wednesday, and Saturday. And sign up to my free Telegram channel if you're after even more regular updates. If you're a trader and you're interested in my VIP channel, you can get more details over here. VIP gives you exclusive access to my personal trading setups with exact entry points, targets, and stop losses. Okay, guys, so taking a look at the charts, let's talk about the recent price action, the establishment of a macro bottom for Bitcoin, and what we need to look out for in terms of that big bullish break. So if we take a look here on the daily chart, for those of you guys who have been blissfully unaware of the price action, Bitcoin's been painfully chopping within this sort of horizontal range here for nearly 3 months now, right? 88 days that we've been hovering between the sort of 91k and chopping up to 108,000. And for the most part, Bitcoin has been sitting around this sort of region over here, our daily chart, I guess, sort of range from 91 to $100,000. Never really establishing macro breaks of 100,000 and sort of failing to enter that high time frame price discovery. However, over the last couple of weeks, we've started to see signs of a macro bottom developing on Bitcoin, or I guess a sort of exhaustion of selling pressure at the base of this range, and a bit of confirmation that it is likely that upon a little more consolidation, Bitcoin should be prepping for a large move to the upside and an actual breakout of this daily chart range and, of this chop zone. So what I'm really talking about is here on the daily chart, taking a look at the RSI. We've seen repetitive retests of 41.18 on the oscillator here, and in refusing to break down from that level and that sort of consistent equal lows on RSI does sort of tell us that as the price action develops higher lows on the price action, we're seeing the sellers exhaust, right? The inability to push Bitcoin lower within this range. In fact, we even had really bearish news come out recently from CPI and interest rate data. And despite all of that, the market has not been able to push lower on this price action. And, even beyond our short time frame range of support at $95,000. If we take a look at the weekly chart as well, we can see signs that a potential reversal is printing, with our most recent weekly candle close being this sort of doji candle over here, right? That massive indecision candle that shows us once again that the buyers and the sellers are actually quite balanced at this stage, and we're seeing equal buying pressure and selling pressure at support as well as resistance. So it's time to look for that shift and signs for that breakout. Before we get into the rest of the video, guys, let's hear a quick word from our sponsor, BTC. We can get 15% off all of your trading fees and up to $5,500 in sign-up rewards when you create your free account using the link down in my description box. BTC is an emerging cryptocurrency exchange committed to providing you with a secure, convenient, and highly functional trading and investment platform. Available across all countries as a non-KYC exchange, get global access to over 150 trading pairs with minimal fees on both spot and futures contracts. Join today to get $5,500 in sign-up rewards and get 15% off all of your trading fees by signing up using the link in my bio or by using the code 1GG3 when you create your account. So heading back to the daily chart, let's talk about the key signals that we have here on these higher time frame charts that will trigger the break or, show us that it is happening. So both leading and lagging indicators. So leading indicators, starting off, let's talk about RSI. So we know already that we have developing equal lows here on the oscillator, but we have those lows developing as well against a high time frame downtrend over here, right? The same one that we have exhibited since the very start of our daily chart range here, the first time that Bitcoin tapped $99,000. And we can see here since then, despite all those sort of rallies and deviations to the new all-time highs here at $108,000 and $110,000, momentum throughout the entire period has been dropping, and hence why we haven't been able to establish some sort of high time frame and macro bullish continuation, right? What we're really actually looking for. So what we need to see then to break out of this pattern and flip these charts to bullish is, of course, a breakout of that trend line. And also what would be the most ideal as well is to see a flip of the prior contact point on the RSI here at 64.67. Right, that would provide even more, confidence that the trend here has truly broken and we're flipping RSI to a positive uptrend. Now on the price action, what we're also looking for is a flip of this level at $100,000, which I think if you guys have watched my past videos, I've spoken about many times. It is a crucial level of resistance, which in flipped generally provides support for an extended rally up to the next key sort of higher time frame resistance at those all-time high sort of levels. So 108,000 and 110,000 being that sort of deviation high buy side liquidity. Now, if we pull up the Bollinger Bands as well, we can see confluence for that analysis because the 100K level here is also the midline of the Bollinger Bands. And in the past, or if we look at historical price action, generally when Bitcoin is in a massive period of sort of consolidation or sideways chop, it is the flip of the Bollinger Bands midline and an establishment of that as support alongside other indications that we generally see a higher time frame bullish continuation from Bitcoin. For example, if we go back just to take a look at the most recent prior period of prolonged consolidation we had, which was this sort of massive descending parallel channel here from Bitcoin, if you guys remember that, from March all the way to October, it was the flip of the Bollinger Bands over here that signaled that bullish continuation. And if you take a look, we also retested the top of that parallel structure and had previously flipped weekly RSI to positive as well. So we had multiple segments of confluence for that analysis and for that bullish continuation. So if we take a look over here, flipping the Bollinger Bands and 100K, we break out of our structure here, and then in flipping momentum here on the daily time frame as well as the weekly chart, which we'll go over in a second, should support a bullish continuation to retest resistance at these upper levels, where in breaking that we can then see a move into macro price discovery. So if we go over to our weekly chart, we can see that RSI downtrend as well. And that is right here, right? We've got 2 points of contact right now, and we are, I would say, about 1 to 2 weeks away from reaching that third point of contact where we're looking for that break again to signal that bullish continuation, that bullish shift on a higher time frame. Now, while we're here on the weekly chart, let's talk about the potential measured move for the big Bitcoin breakout. So over here on the weekly chart, we can see this sort of weekly range, right? Where in the last 9 weeks of price action in the last 3 months, Bitcoin has been traveling between $91,000, that's the base of that range, up to the weekly low at $93,000, the close itself, and then the weekly high being the close at $104,500. We can see every single time we've seen this sort of deviations above 104.5, we were unable to sustain them, and that has forced the price back into the channel, and thereby we continue to travel within that sort of chop zone. So if we're able to see Bitcoin close the weekly chart above this 104.5K level, alongside all the other bullish signals that we just talked about on the daily and the weekly timeframes, all those momentum shifts and establishment of key supports, we should see a measured move being the height of the weekly range, and that takes us to around $115,000. It is anywhere between a 10 to 11% rally. If we take a look, just quickly checking. Apply that to the breakout point. Yeah, so about 10.2%, and takes us to around $115,000 to $116,000. Now, before we dive in to take a quick look at the short time frame analysis, let's talk about the invalidations for this, right? So obviously the basis of all this sort of bullish analysis that we're doing here and, the awaiting of all these shifts is on the basis that we are approaching, or we have approached, some sort of bottom here for Bitcoin, where as the sellers exhaust, we should be looking for a shift in the strength from buyers to signal, the move back upwards and an actual breakout here. But before we see those things, if we see invalidations for this analysis, that would be a potential warning sign that Bitcoin is headed in a different direction, right? That we're headed in for a potential higher time frame bearish continuation. So on the daily chart here, one of the key warnings that we'll have for that is a loss of 41.18 on the RSI. If we drop below that level, it shows us that momentum has started to drop again and the sellers are increasing in pressure, and that Bitcoin is very likely to then lose our current short time frame support, these sort of higher lows developed on the high time frame charts, and move towards the base at 91,000 and sell side liquidity at $89,000. Now on the weekly chart is where we're starting to look for those really big red flags. Just as I spoke about how a close above the weekly range all-time high here, or the close here at 104.5 would lead lead to high time frame bullish continuation. If we close a weekly candle below 93.5 thousand, that is a similar warning sign for a potential loss of sell side liquidity here at 89,000, and then a movement into really high time frame bearish price action where Bitcoin goes to travel within this very large volume gap here that we have on the weekly chart, taking us as low as $73,000. So with all of that in mind, let's take a look at the shorter time frame charts. So over the last couple of days, we can see the price action has been pretty choppy from Bitcoin, and essentially we've been seeing a movement between this base of support here at $95,000 and our key short time frame resistance developing here at 98,000. We can see 3 current retests and rejections from that level of resistance, which currently also has confluence with our 200 EMA on the 4-hour time frame. So on the short time frame, if we want to see bullish continuations, that signals that first leg upwards towards $100,000, that key high time frame resistance, and our high time frame downtrend as well, this black line that you guys can see here, that's going to be a break and close above this level of resistance at 98.5 and a flip of the 200 EMA as well. That's going to signal that Bitcoin has been able to, I guess, push past that level of resistance. We're flipping it, we're discovering sort of new short time frame highs, and we should see a bullish continuation. We can also see here we are in a little bit of a vague uptrend. We've only got 2 points of retest, and there's no RSI confluence really for that uptrend, but overall we're starting to see these sort of higher lows develop against short time frame resistance, which is a vaguely promising sign. However, if we fall below that sort of short time frame uptrend, and most importantly, if we fall below support here at 95,000 and close below this sort of liquidity tap here, our sell side liquidity in the short time frame at 93.8, we should be expecting a next leg downwards on the short time frame to retest our base of support at $91,000. And upon that retest, we want to make sure that on the daily time frame, that RSI stays above 41.18 to signal that it is very likely to continue to act as a base of support, and we should see a bounce from that level and retain travel or movement within the current daily chart range or even the weekly range, right? Because $93,000, that was the base of the weekly chart range as well. So that's a wrap on the Bitcoin analysis. And now let's move over onto Total 3 and talk about how this all kind of ties in to mass altcoin recovery. So if we take a look at Total 3 here, off the bat, we can see that the charts are honestly developing really, really interesting. We're seeing a massive retest of a huge level of support here at our high time frame downtrend, the 50 EMA, that blue red squiggly line, and our major horizontal resistance here at $953 billion. If Total 3 is able to push above those levels, particularly flipping that 50 EMA and the trend line here, we should see a pretty big shift upwards for altcoins into this volume gap here and up to the next level of resistance here at 1.07 to 1.1 trillion. So for Total 3 and Bitcoin as well, it definitely does look like we've got a really, really important next 2 weeks of price action to watch out for. And if we take a look at RSI here, we can see we've broken out of the first downtrend, the one that coincides with our short time frame downtrend of price action over here. And so we've seen that sort of leading momentum shift and waiting confirmation from the price action to signal the break. But the higher time frame downtrend, the one that's very sort of similar to the daily chart downtrend on Bitcoin, is still yet to be broken, right? That's the one that once again has been, I guess, developed across the entire last 3 months of chop within this almost horizontal range here on Total 3 as well. So we're waiting to see that RSI flip positive to signal once again that shift to high time frame bullish price action for altcoins and potentially a push above 1.16 trillion, the all-time high for altcoin market cap, and a push into price discovery, of course, awaiting our short time frame bullish validations first. So a way I think that you could sort of translate this chart into altcoin accumulation behavior is, first of all, the break of this level, a flip of that on the daily chart. So closing above those levels should signal, I guess, the first sort of, buying opportunity, and then a break of this, the secondary RSI trend line, should signal a much more, confident in terms of very, very high time frame altcoin purchasing behavior. And then this sort of level over here, potential de-risking opportunity, right? watching to see if Total 3 actually manages to flip this level of resistance and close above this high here at 1.1 trillion, the end of that resistance. And then if it does, then we should see even more bullish behavior that pushes us above $1.6 trillion. Alrighty guys, that is a wrap on the analysis today. Thank you for tuning in for another episode. If you guys liked the video or you learned something, don't forget to smash that like button and subscribe to the channel to get regular Bitcoin analysis every Monday, Wednesday, and Saturday. And join my free Telegram channel for more regular updates. If you're a trader and you're interested in my VIP channel, don't forget to contact me on Telegram for more details. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Bye!